Coachila, you're on mute if you're
Oh,
talking.
how you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I can't complain. Just a few fix here for me. With my camera. Sorry,
All good, all good.
I can't complain.
Oh wait, we're live. Oh wait, you're live right now?
Yeah, we're live. We are live, man. How you
Oh,
doing?
you are.
Sorry,
Oh no, I did
I
not
was
see that you
having a
were.
few
But
technical issues that took me time to fix. But I think we are good now. How you doing today?
yeah, I'm doing well. How about you, man? Yeah, you said you can't complain, but you ready for this game today? You ready?
I am ready. I'm looking at the lineup, and I am really, really surprised. Have you seen
Mm-hmm.
it?
Yeah, I have, man. I have. I'm a bit shocked at that front line. That's it.
Why are you shocked? Can you tell me? Tell me why you're shocked, Matt.
Well, I quickly saw that little glimpse of Barkley there, and I was like, Barkley, we've got Pulisic and Ziyech on the bench. I assume Pulisic on the bench, but we're still playing Barkley. Like, yeah, right, he's came on a couple of times, but this isn't 2018 anymore. This is like, Ziyech should 100% be starting over Barkley. Ziyech scored last game for goals. Like, I'm not going to forget that. So I do think it's a bit disrespectful that Barkley starts over Ziyech.
Hmm. I think for me, I think it's a good choice. I mean, people don't seem to understand how creative it is, and he shoots with both feet. It's not like
Mm.
he's just like left footed or right footed. Then when he doesn't get his way on the other foot, he start looking for it. So, and he can create chances. And one thing about his passes is that he adds so much pace to it that before the opposing defenders realize what's going on, the pass has reached the person that is designed for. So that's why I'm happy to see him. But let's get started. Overall, what do you think about the lineup?
I mean, from the looks of it, I remember there was the back three, our best back three. Again, I was a little bit shocked against that. I would have thought Chalobah may have started just to rest a couple of players, but at the same time, they're going international break, so it's like whatever. We'll play our best. We'll put them up there. Obviously, as you put up here, Rudiger, Silva, Christensen, they 100% are our best back three for sure. So it's good to see them get one last game before the international break. Hopefully, none of them do get injured in that break. We do not want to see that at all. But it's good to see them play, and it's against Burnley. I mean, we still can't underestimate Burnley. It's still a Premier League team.
Yeah, the truth is, we know Burnley is a very physical side. They're aggressive
Mm.
and they can be lethal in terms of counter attacks. So I think it's a good lineup. But let's start from the back. Overall we expected Mendy to be between the sticks. Nice to see you here, Matt. This is so bad for ZH. If Barkley is getting ahead of you, then you are in trouble. Exactly the
Mm.
point that Matt already made. But that's why they're all in the team. There are some oppositions that I see. When you look at them, you think, okay, this player is better suited for this game. And I think that's the case this time. Maybe Tuchel, he has his reasons, but I still didn't expect Barkley to start. But let's start from the back, Matt. We expected Mendy to start between the stick as expected. Before we'll talk about the omissions later because there's a big omission in the middle area in the center. So the back three, do you like it like that? Or do you have any concerns?
No, I mean this is my favorite back three ever. I mean to play for in our team. The only concern I would have is if don't want any of them to get injured, but at the same time it's international break, so they will have that rest. But I did put them three to start because it's our best front three, and whenever they're fit, they should be playing.
Yeah, but before I continue, big up to you, Chichi. Nice to see you around here. Finally, you've made it. Okay, now, Matt, for me, for the back three, here's where my concern lies. Thiago Silva and Christensen, and I think I've talked about this. I've talked about this issue in a pregame show 3 times now, if after this one, or 4 times actually. They're both two of them are the best athlete in the back line. And if we're rotating the team to avoid injury issues, why have them both on that is on the pitch for the same game? What if either of the two injuries gets injured, then we have a problem. But what do you think about that? Having Silva and Christensen on the pitch at the same time.
Christensen, I think is fine. I mean, I don't see him getting. He's not injury prone as much, but Silva, yes, that is an issue. I mean, we always said that probably back in August that we're only going to be playing Silva against the big teams, City, Liverpool, United, etc. Again, I was a bit confused why he would have started. Hence why I said Chalobah maybe to start because obviously it's Burnley, but at the same time it's Burnley. Like they do play that nine at the back. They could be a bit aggressive, but I think Tuchel's got that mindset now that if he's fit, let's start him. If he does get injured, God forbid he does get injured, that he's at least got a couple of weeks to rest and he doesn't need to go to Brazil. So I think he's got that mindset now of just if he's fit, start him. Hence again, Kante is on that field too.
Hmm. Uh, I'm still not really happy with this starting lineup, the starting 11 here. I've seen some interesting comments here. If Mount did what Cho had done, he would have been killed. Bloody double standards. I'm not sure what that means. I'll leave the lines open so that you can get in and express yourself and let us know what you mean. So, but Matt, okay, let's move to the double pivot section. There we have a very big omission there in Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which Matt has, what's his name? Yeah, Matt Ball has said there. Think Ruben Loftus-Cheek would suit more than Kante in this formation. He has the physical presence needed, and I don't think Kante and Jorginho is attacking enough against a low block. That is for me a perfect comment that explains the issue with this lineup here, because Ruben proved against Juventus that he was what we've been missing all along. The moment he came in, he changed the dynamics of that game. So why leave him on the bench? What do you think, Matt?
No, that's a very good point by Matt as well. I mean, Loftus-Cheek is very attacking. I would have guessed him and Kante to play again. As you said, Burnley's a very defensive team. We need to open them up. And what we've seen that we haven't been playing against teams that play 9-10 at the back. So Loftus 100% would have been a better choice. Again, I think it goes back to this style of Jorginho and Kante are the best midfielders in our team. If they're both fit, they both start. I don't think
But here's my argument: the pairing in terms of when you're defensively minded, that combo there is fine. But when we need to attack the opponent and score goals, that's not what we need. Kante, I mean, he can be good when he plays as number 8 or when he plays closer to the opponent's half, but creating chances are not his best attributes. You get me? Jorginho also the same thing. So why start with this two when we know Burnley will most definitely sit deep and look to hit us on a break? That's the question.
I would assume that when we play this, we always see, and it's been happening, I think Newcastle as well, that our wing backs play way more attack and our midfielders just sit back. I do agree with that point. I think Loftus should definitely start this game. I put Loftus into start with Kante because, as you said, he's an attacking player. We need more attacking players against this type of players like Burnley. But I do think that when we have our two midfielders like these two, they have to start as well as the same point as maybe playing Silva. He's our best centre back. Yeah, maybe let's say he doesn't fit into the style of the back three, but he's still going to play just because he's still better and he's overall that number one starting point. I think Tuchel now is thinking, and as I said, I'm going to repeat myself. I said before, I think he's now thinking if you're fit, you play. Jorginho, Kante both fit, and I think if we see not defensive as they're not playing attacking, then he may put him on 50th, 60th minute.
Okay, now look at this comment here. Plus, Ruben's height would have been good for set pieces because that's what Burnley are good at. Dead ball situations, corner kicks, free kicks are closer to your 18-yard box, then you're in trouble. So why leave him on the bench? Really, Kante is not good in terms of defending aerial balls. Jorginho, the same thing. Even on the flanks, except Chile can leap very well. But we have issues, except for Havertz, who's tall, but he's not really making really good of his height. So I'm not sure why that is the case. I would think, okay, that's by the way, I would think you don't have so much concern about James starting as a right wing back.
Oh no, I love James right wing back. I think he's the best right wing back at Chelsea.
How about
Obviously
Chile?
right
Any
now.
concerns about Chile?
Nah, he's definitely our starting left wing back for sure.
Okay, and for those in the chat, I have the link there now. If you want to come in and express yourself, feel free to do so. the the line is open right now for you. So let's look at the two number 8s where you started actually started the show by complaining immediately. What do you think about the 2 8s, or you could call it 2 10s? It depends on the application.
Yeah, I call them 2 10s. I don't think they're 8s. But Barkley, I think someone said that to trust in Tuchel. I do trust in Tuchel, but as a fan and opinion, as an opinion standpoint, I have no idea why this man's on the pitch. I'm sick of seeing this man on the pitch. I do think Ziyech has more qualities, and in a game like Burnley where they don't play this fast football, we're gonna have so much possession. Ziyech plays so much better in a game where he has time. He has that composure. We're not playing against City where they're just gonna be pressing. Burnley don't press. They're just going to sit behind. So this would have been a perfect game for Ziyech. But going to Cho as well. Cho, this is, again, he's been in form. Mount's still not back, I assume. Is Mount on the bench? I don't think he's on the bench today. So that means Cho's obviously going to be starting there. And Havertz is our only striker at the moment, so he has to play there.
So you're saying that Ziyech would have been better suited for a game, and we've established how aggressive Burnley are. They're very physical, and you think Ziyech would do well in this game?
I think Aston Villa's a more physical team than Burnley. I mean, Burnley, we've seen them every year. I was watching them last week when they played Brentford. They played very good football when they've got a team who are very open. We're not a team who are much very open. We're kind of compacted. We're very composed when we get it. We kind of spread out. It's hard to describe our team in a sense in 1 or 2 words. But with Ziyech on the pitch, it makes us more composed in that front line, hence giving overlaps. We won't see like as many crosses, from that Ziyech as he likes to do. We can't do that, unfortunately. That's one thing that I would kind of mitigate on why he shouldn't start. Barkley, on the other hand, I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, I want to hear yours and other people's perspective on why Barkley should start. I don't see Barkley bringing anything besides probably some dribbling, which Ziyech could probably do anyway. I just don't understand why Barkley's done something like this. I would see him in an FA Cup game. I wouldn't see him in the Prem.
You could say Barkley and Ziyech both have the same issue. They seem to struggle with it. They don't have the space to operate, especially Ziyech. So I'd argue for me, but you could say Barkley is a match fit, maybe, or maybe Ziyech would have more chemistry. But in terms of creative ability, what we've seen, the little Barkley has played, I think he's well suited for this kind of game, and he's used to he's adapted to the physicality of the Premier League, and he understands. But I think, honestly, for me, I think Ziyech will struggle more in this game than Barkley would. What do you think about this statement on the screen? Because I do think you like Ziyech too.
I do like Ziyech, but I always, when Ziyech is playing bad, I'm the first one to say Ziyech is horrible. I mean, I know Ziyech has been horrible this season. I'm always the one who says I put the club over the players, and I do put club over players. I do like Ziyech, but in a game like this, I would even put Pulisic on over Barkley. Like even Pulisic, I don't want to see Barkley on that pitch. He came on, he played 20 minutes, but for starting, he played. Where did he play? Was it Malmo or Southampton when he played in that front three?
He came in, I think, and he helped his. Was it against Southampton? The pass before the final pass. But the truth is, okay. Before I go on, I wanted to ask you: you sure you're not being biased there because of how much you love Ziyech? But that's by the way, Matt. Now, Barkley can shoot from outside the box, so I am not mad about it. Yeah, and he can shoot with both feet, but Ziyech is just his left foot. But we're not here to fight over who shoots better than the other. I think overall for me, it's a good lineup, but we have someone, an addition to the panel. Let's get his opinion overall. Matt, I'll come back to you, but you can always chip in to express yourself and or maybe let us hear your input. Matt, welcome back to Chelsea Perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to come on. I've been very bad in the last few weeks, not being able to come on to the pre-match previews, but been a lot of things going on. But I'm glad to be back and good to talk about this lineup, which has picked up a few surprises. Barkley, I'm not the biggest fan of him, but in all honesty, I can kind of understand it a little bit. Pulisic, he's come back from injury. It's been a long time, but what we've got to remember is this Burnley team is very physical. They will put quite a few poor tackles in. And the last thing I want to see is then put another poor tackle on that ankle. And if it's not quite ready, I don't want him to go out again for a few weeks. So I think it's giving him a little bit of time, giving him 30 minutes off the bench, slowly get back. Hopefully that means he doesn't play too much on the international duty, and then he can come back after the international break, play well. Mount obviously has only just come back, so that's why he's on the bench. And then Ziyech, I mean, he's been so poor the last few games. Between him and Barkley's had a few good games this season. Obviously, we know he's inconsistent, but so is Ziyech at the moment. So I think it's just to pick out a bad bunch. And I think now that Tuchel is not giving Ziyech that slot ahead of Barkley, they start to look at Barkley and thinking, well, he can play instead of Ziyech. This is where I look at Ziyech and go, is a worry. Is he going to leave? Maybe not in January, but next summer, because I don't see a place for him. I see us going for another winger, trying to improve us in that attacking third, and I just see Ziyech the person that's going to move out.
Wow. I mean, I'd have to disagree with you. He's done well in the past. In the last game he played, he wasn't as bad as has been. Matt, do you agree that Ziyech has been poor?
I think
Generally,
poor stars. Wait, which one?
Yeah.
This is going to be confusing.
Okay, let's talk about the last game he played. Do you agree, Matt? Matt, you said he's been poor, right? You clearly said that Ziyech has been poor, didn't you? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, Matt from Worldwide Chess. You said Ziyech has been poor.
Do that.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, last game he did better. I will say I haven't watched the full game because I was out and busy, so I didn't. I've watched some of it. I think he played better, but I still don't think he's done enough compared to where I've seen a lot of other games where he's been very poor. And I felt this one was a bit more of a average to good game. But again, if you've been playing that bad consistently over the last season, I do think there is a part of it where his shoulder, obviously, it does take time to come back from that. Sometimes it's more confidence of your body, but still, I just think when you're at that age of 28 years old, you're in your prime. There's more pressure compared to the likes of Havertz, who are 22, 23, and still looking to develop. He should be hitting the nail on the head now and stamping authority in this team. And I think where he's not doing that, I feel that's what's going to be the thing that could allow him to be cut.
Okay, Matt from CFC Chat, let's be clear. You heard him. Do you agree that Ziyech has been poor?
I think at the start of the season he's been very poor. After that Norwich game, we saw that assist he gave to Loftus, and then let's not forget, he scored last game. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's good. Not yet. But you're
arguing that he should have started ahead of Barkley.
He should start this game over Barkley. I would have put Loftus-Cheek in that front three over Barkley. I don't want to even see Barkley on that bench, to be honest with you. I would just put if we're going to say more attacking players, Loftus-Cheek goes in that front three any day. Ziyech goes in second, then Pulisic. I still understand, but take out the point. If we're talking physical, then why wouldn't Loftus go there? If we're talking technical, Ziyech will go there. Talking dribbling, Pulisic will go there. What are we saying Barkley's going to do in this game that will make a difference but for those other three?
Wow. And you said you're not being biased because of how much you love him, but that's no, by the way,
I've been very unbiased.
Welcome to the panel, brother. Always good to have you around. Okay, I believe you. Okay, Matt, I'm coming back to you. By the way, I'm trying as much as I can to laugh as many times as possible. A friend of mine in the chat, she said, why so serious all the time? That she loves the show, but I should try and smile. And I hope I'm doing you proud, just Viola. Thank you very much for that advice. I think it will go a long way. So I'm coming to you, Matt. You believe that Barkley is a better option in that position than Ziyech right now?
I mean, I wouldn't pick either of them, but if you're going to pick, I think it's one of them ones that it's a strange one for me. But I think Barkley he's had games when he's come on that he's played well. He's come on. He's tried to change the game. He's put in some good passes. When we've lacked that kind of good final ball, he's kind of come in and changed that a little bit. So maybe it's just a thing where Tuchel's going, right, I need to change it up. I need some rotation. Ziyech has played quite a few games already in the last few games. So maybe it's more of a thing Ziyech needs a rest. And then you've got Pulisic and Mount who are not fully back from what their injury issues are. So maybe it's a thing where he's going, right, you've got this game. It's against Burnley. I do say don't underestimate Burnley, but Barkley should be doing well and should be able to do well against his team. So it is. I think it may be Tuchel's chance to go, show me what you can do and show me if there is a chance of you being in the squad, because he gave Ruben that chance and he's flourished with it. He's given Chalobah that chance at the beginning of the season and he's flourished with it. So maybe he's thinking this is the one game where the chances open up for Barkley and he can do it. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Barkley at all. I would love it if he leaves the club and goes to do his own thing, because I think it could be better for his career and better for Chelsea. But if he's playing, I'll support him. I'll back him.
Yeah, I mean, the argument could be we need somebody when we, given that it's obvious, we already know that Burnley will sit deep. So we need a player who's capable of shooting at the slightest space he gets. ZH, for me, he needs a lot of space. If it's on his right foot, he tries to find his left foot, except if he's alone, then he can maybe just knock the ball into the back of the net with his right foot. But that hasn't always, I mean, he always looks for, first of all, he will look for his left foot. Then if that doesn't happen, he looks for other options. So I'm coming back to you, and I'm glad you're joining the fight. We'll start by talking about the omission of Ruben Loftus-Cheek from the midfield. And like somebody mentioned here, I don't know if I can, Chichi, as I mentioned here, I don't know if I can find the comment. She said something about Ruben Loftus-Cheek physicality, his height, and, you know, he's a strong guy and he's well suited for this game. So why leave him out? Why Jorginho and Kante, two of which we know are not the best in terms of creating chances or, you know, driving us forward. Even we have an issue there. The two of them cannot dribble their way out of a tight space. Jorginho has a way to turn around. He can use space to beat you, but when that space isn't there, he finds it difficult to operate. Kante can sometimes. Kante also operates with space so much. It's only Kovacic that he doesn't need that much of a space to operate. He can dribble his way out of a very tight space and then do something with the ball. But these two guys in the midfield, there is a clear problem there. If they press us aggressively, then we're in trouble. So the question is, why leave Ruben Loftus-Cheek on the bench?
I think Loftus-Cheek has had his fair share of injury issues, and this season as well. I think he's worked so hard to come back.
He's not injured right now.
He isn't, but he played the full 90 midweek, didn't he? So I think Thomas Tuchel is probably just taking it a little bit slow. I mean, I'm giving Tuchel the benefit of the doubt here, because I was just as baffled as you guys are about Loftus-Cheek being benched. I thought he would be the perfect player to play this game, honestly, and it's a little surprising, but I'm fairly certain that he's going to come off the bench. And about coming to Jorginho and Kante, I think we're gonna sort of do this from the wide flanks. I think looking at the lineup, we're definitely going to be pushing Reece and Chilwell as front as possible and trying to create a 2v1 situation. On Burnley's sort of full backs, and I mean, they defend with two backs of four, really. I mean, there's no other way to put it, right? They're going to be defending as deep as they can. So we're going to try to create 2v1 situation on the wings, I feel. So I think Reece James and Chilwell are going to be our most important, positions there, because our midfield, as we know, Burnley, of course, two backs of four. So they're going to have a pretty strong core in midfield. So they're going to be hard to, penetrate from the middle. So I think we're going to they're going to sort of force us out wide, but that's where our strength lies. And I think that's where our attacking threat is going to come from today. I mean, I know that Reece and Chilwell have basically been, the driving attacking force over the past couple of games, and I think I can see that carrying on to this one. And we might just be able to drag their midfielders out or something. I don't know. But I think, considering how we've lined up with the Jorginho Kante midfield, I think we aim to keep as much possession as possible, although that shouldn't be too much of a problem. And I think we're going to allow Reece James and Chilwell even more freedom than they've been given in the past few games to try and penetrate that Burnley defense and probably put a cross in or maybe go into the box and receive a cross themselves.
Wow, you always have a way of convincing me, but I'm still not convinced. I'm so sorry. That was the big words and big terms, football terms. You tried really hard to convince me, and I always succumbed to it, but I'm still not sure. But that's, by the way, Tuchel is the man who trains with these guys. He knows what he's trying to see in the game, and he knows the best personnel to put on the pitch to get it executed properly. But I'm going to come to you quickly before I move on to the two Matts on the show, and remind me to be specific this time again before I classify. So starting Thiago Silva and Christensen, the two guys we know that are the only guys that are capable of leading the back line from the central position in that defense. We have them both on the pitch, and we've had injury issues. So why start them both when Chalobah can, slot in seamlessly on the right-hand side, and then we can rest one of them for the next game? Why start them both? This has happened not just today. This has happened in the previous games. Why start them both?
I'm honestly not sure about that one either. I think, like you said, Thomas Tuchel is the one who. Sorry about that. Just have a little cold. Thomas Tuchel is the one who watches everyone behind this, train every day. It's not us, so it's up to him to make the best decision. But you're right. I think every time Thiago Silva goes down, I just get a mini heart attack, and it's because he's such a good player, but his body just can't keep up with him, unfortunately. And it's not his fault, right? I mean, he's like 37 now, and he's still playing top flight football. So honestly, I'm a little surprised. I'm not gonna lie that we're starting both of them. I think Chalobah has been pretty good this season too. But I think, when it comes to ball progression, I think, Christensen, of course, has the upper hand on Chalobah and Thiago Silva through the middle. I think all three of them have now, sort of really blended into this role about driving the ball front. And we saw that against Newcastle as well. The number of times that they drove the ball front, Christensen from the right and Rudiger from the left, and sort of picked out that pass. So I think that's what Thomas Tuchel is going to be aiming for. Chalobah, as good as he is, I just don't think that in the most respectful way possible, of course, to Chalobah, he's been incredible and probably one of our best players this season. But I think he's very good at reading the game. He's very good at just carrying the ball forward. But when it comes to picking the right pass about finding an attacker in space, maybe Chalobah's got a little bit to learn in that regard, especially he gets the ball, he drives it front, but it's about picking that pass and freeing the attacker. And sometimes he doesn't do that. But while all three of Rudiger, Christensen, and Thiago Silva can do that, so maybe that's one of the reasoning, especially with Burnley, right? You're gonna have to pick every single space you can get, especially in and around their box. So that's one of the reasons. But I'm pretty surprised that Chalobah hasn't started this one. To be fair with you, I think Chalobah and Loftus-Cheek are both very surprise omissions for me.
Yeah. As much as I'm even more surprised than you do. But anyway, that's, by the way, a great explanation there on why you think he's not starting this game. So, but before we continue, please, if you haven't, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and more importantly, don't forget to click on the bell notification button so that you will get notification whenever we plan going live or whenever I upload a new video. Yeah, but that's, by the way, let's move to the number 9 position. And I'll start with you, Matt. How well do you think Havertz has done well enough to retain that position? Matt from CFC Chat.
So what was it about Havertz?
Yeah, Havertz, if he's done well enough to, hold down that position.
I mean, let's really be honest. He's the only one who can play that position at this moment. If Werner was in the team, I would put Werner over Havertz. I mean, if we look at his form right now, he's not on the best form. But we can all say it's fine. We know he's 21. He's got so much time ahead of him. We shouldn't be complaining. But at this moment, he hasn't showed as much as we thought. Like that Norwich game, he didn't score. I thought I was really hoping for him to score that game, but he just didn't. I don't understand, and I think this game as well. I said Newcastle won't score because of how they play 9 at the back. When they play 9 at the back, they're all over the striker. It's going to be the exact same. They're going to play 9 at the back, and when they play 9 at the back, they're all going to be on the striker. So he's not going to get a hit at the ball this game. That's going to be my prediction again. But it's what we can deal with. It's the only thing we have is Havertz up front, so we can't really complain.
I agree. He's the only guy that can. Well, if not really, if we say he's playing as false 9, then we have all the guys who can also execute that role perfectly. But if you say he's playing as an out and out 9, which I don't think it is, then it makes it seem as if we made a mistake by not signing at least a second striker during the summer transfer window. But that's, by the way, to everybody in the chat, even all the Mats and one Coachila, that's good. So less of a work for me to do here. Do we think Kai Havertz has done enough? If you call it false 9, if you call it an out 9, do you think he's done enough to still start this game? Because if you say it's a false 9, you could say Cho can execute it perfectly, then we have room for Ziyech is still coming. Who has Pulisic? I think he's not ready, but even Mount can execute it perfectly if we say it is false nine. So, but the question is, has he done enough? I mean, anybody can chip in.
Yeah, I think he's. It's one of them things. Again, I think he's had the most actual game time playing that false nine. I think it does suit him the best out of all the other wingers that we have in the forward line. But I think it's more of a thing we're just waiting for Werner and Lukaku to come back, and then one of them two will fit right in, probably Lukaku. Because, I mean, it's hard with the whole second striker thing about getting one in the window, because it's when you sign someone like Lukaku, this is the same problem that Tottenham have had over the last recent years. To sign someone to be back up to Harry Kane, there's not many strikers going to be able to do that, because Lukaku is going to take 80-90% of the game time, bar an occasional rotation coming off the bench and maybe a couple cup games. And you're not going to get quality strikers that are going to come in and play that second role. So I think where you've got Havertz and Werner, who are more players that can play in the other forward lines and up front, so they can also start other games. I think that's where we do well from it. But we've just had the unfortunate thing that both Lukaku and Werner have been out at the same time. I mean, the chances of these two specifically, or Havertz and Lukaku coming out again injured at the same match, I think for a long period of time, I think it's going to be very unlikely you see that again. So I think it's just something we're going to have to deal with, and Havertz has got to improve. I mean, I know he's 21 and he has got time to improve, but Chelsea Football Club don't wait for nobody. If you're going 2, 3, 4 seasons and you're not putting in what we see, you will get replaced. So I think Kaya does have to start stepping up. And my worry is, I worry about where he fits in, because for me, I look at Kaya and I think he's very good once the ball gets into the box. But outside of that, I think he's very struggled. In the German league, where he had a lot more space, it was much easier for him. But where in the Premier League he doesn't get that space in and outside the box, I don't find he's effective at all. And it's only when he has to almost play more like a poacher at times, like how Thomas Muller has always played his career, where he'd always be in the right position at the right time. I think Kai has that, but he hasn't shown it enough. And I think I worry about where he will actually fit into this team long term.
Wow, that's you're worried how well he's going to fit into this team long term. I think he has a future at Chelsea, but maybe not the way we're using him right now, because he's got all the qualities. And I've had a conversation with somebody. I told him his lone winning goal against Man City in the UEFA Champions League final can only carry him, for 2 years or 3 years at least, and then the Chelsea fans will start turning against them because we're so spoiled. We want you to be consistent, or hopefully that changes, but still, it makes it look as if we should have gone for a second number 9 during the transfer window if we're really not gonna define it as a false 9, and then bank on fluidity to help us win games. But that's, by the way. Let me bring us back to something we've discussed here 3 times or twice. Maybe we'll get different opinions because we have different set of panelists today. We have Jorginho and Kante, which means we're playing 2 6s. Now, no matter the application, the argument has always been, if we play Jorginho, who's a defined register, he can sit deep, control the tempo of the game, or if you like, call it the pace of the game. Why can't one of them, the second 6 can be? We don't need a second 6. Then we have the opportunity to add one more attacking player, because one alone can suffice. Since when we defend, the 2 wing backs drop deep, making our defensive line 5. Why do we need 2 6s? That's the question. Because we have too many attacking players. If we do away with one can suffice. We have one more player in the attack. So the question is, why do we need 2 6s?
I'll just quickly add on.
Sure.
I did say this before, and I was going to say that it's been working for us this last year. Why would we change something that's really broken? I do get that point of Loftus-Cheek in that position, but I wouldn't change something that's been working.
Yeah, but you can't be stagnant. Because if you don't change, you get find out. That's the thing. You have to be dynamic. You have to be willing to like change, at least sometimes change. And against Burnley, except maybe if you can help me understand that the application is different. If the application is not different, if the application is based on the structure as it is, having 2 6s as we see in the formation, then to me, those that argue that we need just a single 6 and then get the opportunity to add one more person to the attack, their argument really makes sense. You get my point now. So up to you guys.
Yeah, if I could just quickly chip in for this one, I think I've made a thread on this earlier as well, quite some time back actually, when Lampard was still at the club. It's that every successful manager always has 5 in attack, right? It doesn't matter from where these 5 come in. So we've seen different variations of this, and it's 5 mainly because you get to occupy each and every single half space. You get to occupy 2 players in the wide positions. You get 2 as inside forwards and 1 in the center, right? That's what every top club uses. That's what Jurgen Klopp uses his front 3, and then he has Robertson and Trent who push up from the wing backs. And then at Man City, you've had so many different variations. You have sometimes you have Cancelo joining the attack. Sometimes when David Silva was still at the club, he used his wing backs to drop into midfield, which is why he converted Zinchenko from a midfielder into a wing back, into a full back rather, so that he could drop into midfield. And they had a front 5 of where Sterling and Sane would play as the wide men, and then you had David Silva and De Bruyne who played as the inside forwards, and you had Aguero through the middle. Similarly for Liverpool, you have Trent and Robertson as the wide wingers, you have Salah and Mane as the inside forwards, and you have Firmino through the middle. So that's how every top club usually plays, and that's what Thomas Tuchel is trying to do at Chelsea as well. So I think in every given attack, you can't have more than 5 players committed forward, or else there's just not enough space for all of them to get combined. I think that's just my view, and which is why I think they usually play 3-5 or a 2-3-5, right, in attack. That's what all top clubs play in formation, which is why if you watch Manchester City closely, you'll see Kyle Walker dropping into midfield. You won't see him overlapping the winger, because that's how Pep Guardiola plays. It's similar to Liverpool as well. Earlier this season, actually, Harvey Elliott used to go front and Trent Alexander-Arnold used to move into midfield. But ever since he's been injured, they've now reverted back to last season, where Salah moves into the middle and Trent Alexander-Arnold overlaps. So that's what we're trying to see at Chelsea as well. We have 3 defined attackers, and then we have 2 wing backs who drive front. So to maintain that 2-3-5 or the 3-2-5 in our situation, so we have 3 centre backs, 2 6s, and 5 attacking players. At times, one of our centre backs also drops into midfield, so it does become a 2-3-5. So that's how I think Thomas Tuchel's varying our system, because that is the most successful system that has been implemented by top coaches around the world, which is why I think we see those 2 double 6s, and at times we can be frustrated because we can see someone else there, but I think that's just there to maintain our shape of 3-5 or 2-3-5 in attack, and make sure we don't commit too many people forward, because like we know, the Premier League is the toughest league in the world, right? You're gonna get punished if you commit too many men forward, especially on the counter. So I think this is just a way of preventing that.
Ahmed does it again. You just make me, I feel like throwing away all my argument, but I'm not gonna do that. I still think a single 6 will suffice, and then we will get the opportunity to add one more person to the attack. You make a very good salesman, Ahmed, but great argument right there, by the way. I must let you know, and great points also. So does any of us have something to add to it? Matt from Worldwide Chelsea, you haven't said anything.
Yeah, I think I would always love Ruben to come into this team, because I think, again, especially against low blocks, it's just we need that extra attacker. And I think as good as Kante is, he doesn't provide enough. And I think when you're playing the likes of Man City, Liverpool, yes, Jorginho, Kante is our number 1 defensive midfield 2, because you need that extra double 6, because you need to be a bit more defensive, you need to be a bit more careful. But especially where we have a back 3 formation, we don't need that extra double 6 to continuously be defensive. And the problem is, if we had Kovacic there, I'd understand a bit more, because Kovacic also drives forward and creates more on the attack. But I just find, with it being Kante, I just don't. He doesn't, for me, bring enough into that attacking lineup when he does, because he does roam into that attacking third, but he doesn't provide enough for me, because it's just not part of his game. And not every Kante is the near perfect midfielder, but he's just not quite there. But he's such a good player at other stuff, it's fine. But I think, especially when you've got someone like Kante you need to manage, it's better to rest him for the bigger games teams that are not going to play low blocks against us, where I think he'll be more effective. Because as we saw in the Newcastle game, when he was on the pitch, he wasn't very effective at all. And we've seen that in a couple of low blocks because we don't really need him on the pitch at that point. There are games such as Brentford. Brentford are a smaller team, but they come out and press you like hell. And that's when you need someone like Kante with a lot of energy in the midfield, and you potentially need 2 double sixes because they'll commit a lot of men forward, and there's more space for the smaller amount of attackers that we have in the attacking third. But against these kind of low block teams, you need someone like Ruben Loftus-Cheek, and especially Burnley, where if they're also a physical team, that adds the physical stuff as well because we don't have a lot of physical tall players. So I think it's one of them things I don't really understand it, but we'll see. I think it's just something Tuchel likes to play with, and I think Ruben will come on and change the game if we're not.
And I think, that's a great shout there. Maybe Ruben will come on much later in the game to help improve things, or maybe the application is different from what we're saying. Like Amaya explained, you could say Amaya's explanation was mathematical. It was good, and that's, by the way. So now we have just a few minutes to round off. So I think it's to get your what you expect of the game, what you think the outcome will be, and you guys know there's a tradition in this show. If you guess it correctly, then your favorite charity organization gets $50 from Chelsea perspective. So I'll start from Matt from CFC chat. No mistake this time, so I'm talking about you. Go ahead, tell us your expectations of the game, what you think the result will be. Plug yourself in.
So I said 3-0 for this game. I do think we're going to have the same thing as Newcastle. I don't see us scoring very early. I do see us scoring probably just one before half-time, and then we'll bang in 2 more after. I did say Ziyech was going to score, but he's on the pitch, so now I have no idea who's going to score. But I do think we'll have a good game. I think we'll have a good performance, and ultimately it'll be a good time to watch Chelsea. And from CFC chat as well, obviously me and Amir's show that we do, so do check us out there.
Yeah, CFC chat, a great channel. You'd have to go check it out yourself, guys. They always have great guests there, great perspective. You need to go check it out for yourself to see, and I promise you will thank me later because I only associate with people with great minds who produce great content for the Chelsea fans to enjoy. I made it to you. Please tell us what you expect of the game. Expect your score prediction, and then plug yourself in.
Yeah, sure. I think I agree with Ankit here. I think 2-0 is going to be the scoreline. I also was going to go for 3-0, but I didn't want to say the same thing as Matt. We always do that on our channel, predict different scores. So I'm going to go for a 2-0 on this one. I think I'm predicting Hudson-Odoi to score in this one. And the other one, I'm going to go for Reece James once again. It's probably going to be Hudson-Odoi and Reece James for me who are going to back the goals. But yeah, let's see. Hopefully it's an interesting one. I think it's going to be one where we might not get too many chances. We're going to probably sit around their box, passing the ball around quite a bit and not take shots. So I think some of us might get annoyed at that. But at the end of the day, I think a win and a clean sheet is the most important thing right now. And hopefully we do get that.
Okay, and Amaya is also from CFC chat. Amaya is also a very good writer. Writer. Check out his Twitter. You'll find the organization he writes for. And he's a very good guy, very humble. Again, I'm proud that I deal with these humble guys, very nice people who look beyond the content aspect of our life, content creation aspect of our lives, and understand that we're all humans. We need to work together because it's about Chelsea that we love. Coming to you, Matt from Worldwide Chelsea Pod. Over to you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to go 2-0 as well, but just for the fact of making it different, I'm actually going to go 2-1. I've seen Max Zukornet for Burnley. He's been playing really well in the last few weeks. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're 2-0 up and in just the last minutes of the game, we just switch off. He scores, gets one back. And then we all panic for about 5-10 minutes because we think we're going to go to 2-2 and we're going to bottle it like we used to. But I do think it'll be 2-1, but I do think it'll be a comfortable game up until we concede before the end. In terms of plugging myself, obviously you can find me on the Worldwide Chelsea channel. We'll be live straight after the game for a review, so make sure you go check that out if you can. And also you can check me out on my podcast at Worldwide Chelsea podcast. We normally do one every Monday. It normally comes out on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and we're also looking after the international break to bring in Chelsea's Women's Show. So we're looking to cover all aspects of Chelsea. So make sure you check that out, and then just follow us on Twitter at WWC Pod Articles.
Yes, thank you very much, Matt, from Worldwide Chelsea Pod and Worldwide Chelsea YouTube channel. You're always welcome here, and I appreciate all the love that you've shown me since we've known each other. You're also a very nice person. I've gotten to know you over time. And guys, go check out Worldwide Chelsea Sport and also Worldwide Chelsea Sport article. He also did share a link to his game preview. I'll try to put it in the description section, and you will find the information for all the panelists in the description section. And guys, I cannot thank you enough for finding the time to be here with me to present this pre-game show with me. It's been awesome. I loved it, and I hope you enjoyed it too. I hope to bring you back whenever you have time. I love you guys so much. It's let's go get a win. Thank you, guys.
Up the Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea.
And thank you so much to everybody in the chat. You've been awesome. I appreciate you. You provide more value to the stream than even the presenters, but we're all the same. Thank you. Go and enjoy the game. See you guys later. Bye.